Hello and welcome to Coffee and Bonsai with Tom. Today I'm going to take you on a run through the jungle. You can see we've got quite a mess here. And give you a little background, like I typically do a lot of cuttings in the summer. So you're out there, I do some pruning, and I just, I can't stand to throw them away, so I'll stick them in a flower pot and they take off. And then, of course, in the fall, I give a lot of them away, but I have way too many, and this last fall, I'm like, I'm just going to shove them all into a forest and get them training. It's not very deep, so they should have good roots. And that's what we're looking at here. Here we have a casualty. Not everything works out. Um, but yeah, I have a variety of ports in here. Most of these are cork bark. Here's some Lilliput. I think I've got some Manny in here. And it's just a cornucopia of various trees. But the reason we're looking at it today is I have some recent cuttings I've made that in water. Here you can see them. They've taken off in my beaker, got a lot of roots, and I want to kind of shoehorn them into this overly thick forest. Um, so I have lots of material to work with, come spring. So the first thing, I'm just going to cut some of these back, and man, I just hope I don't make any more cuttings. Um, and this thing has really grown in thick. And I could just let them grow on tall, and I probably will once I put these. I think I have two or three cuttings and I'm going to stick in this tray. And I think after that, I will just train things to. I'll just grow some trunks, right? So I'll just train them to grow tall and get thicker, and then cut them back and just let them go wild. And you typically get some interesting uh, material that way. Um, but in the interest of getting more plants in here, I am just going to go ahead and, I mean, you can see this; these have really just taken off since I put them in here. So I feel like some sort of cleanup is necessary, and so I'm gonna cut these back pretty hard. Um, this isn't what I'd call an overly designed forest. I mean, I'm kind of putting things in there in a way that I think makes sense, but the real purpose of this is just to grow some material for future projects. And I find that strategy works out pretty well. Like typically, so many times I've just thrown a bunch of things in a pot, maybe even like this, nothing to this scale and this many trees in one pot, but and you kind of look at it, and then the tree develops some character, and then typically after a couple years, you um, pull out two or three of them into a more specialized forest, and it really just works out well. So I recommend it. It's always good to grow some material, and I don't have a lot of room, uh, and it makes it easier to care for. I mean, rather than watering 15 trees, I just water one. And then it also helps the roots because it's kind of shallow, so they tend to kind of grow into each other. So it's kind of a mess when you pull them out, but they're reasonably flat. So I don't know, give it a try. You can also just use a large growing tray, something like that. So I'm just coming in here and using the weed whacker approach to just get it under control. And it's funny, as I said, I'm just kind of randomly growing it. But look at this. These rocks here almost look like a stream coming down in the middle of a forest. I've been on hikes that this kind of reminds me of. So who knows? Maybe I've got an accidental forest penging here. Um, and oh yeah, I've got some variegated in here too. So I'm going to cut that one back really hard and have it be more of a like a bush shape. And I can see, I think I've got a Manny over here too. Like honestly, when I take cuttings, I put them in here. Um, there's not a lot of rhyme or reason. You can see I've got a decent Manny there on the left-hand side. Well, let's take a look at the cuttings. Some of them haven't rooted. They would if I kept them in there, but I don't need. I've already got too many trees, so I'll just pick out the best ones and we will somehow fit those in here. So as I look at this, I'm going to prune the roots a little bit here. I feel like, we've got this spot on the left of this, and I'm just going to cut the top off too. That, I don't know if that's where the tree that didn't make it, yeah, maybe it came out of here. Anyway, this looks like an obvious spot to put something. So I am going to go ahead and use my trusty gardening spoon and create some space and put this guy in here. This soil too is, I think I mentioned in a previous video, I'm sort of experimenting with more of an akadama lava pumice mix, and that's kind of what I got here. And so far, so good. I mean, everything that I've got in that soil just seems really, really happy, and I think it retains a bit more moisture than the soil I've been using for years, and so at least for indoor stuff, it's working quite well. Yeah, that one looks great over there. Maybe shorten it a bit. Um, you can see, you know, these cuttings came from a tree that was outside because it's got a nice suntan of a red trunk there. But anyway, yeah, this soil seems to be working quite well indoors. We'll see outside. We do get a lot of rain here, so I don't want to go whole hog on it until I make sure that they're not going to suffer from root rot out there without any special care. And here is another little tree, and I think I'm just going to put it right in here. It'll kind of grow among the rocks that kind of look like my stream bed, or maybe it's, kind of right on the edge of the stream. Notice on a lot of hikes I go on, like trees will try to get super close to the stream at times, and so it gets very dry in the summer. But honestly, I'm just putting it where I can find space. It's going to be quite challenging to get the last one in here, I can say. I'll probably eventually cut this one way back too, but I'll just let it go for now because I like to leave a fair amount of leaves on until the roots get cooking again. This one has a straight shot down on the one side, although I do see some nubs kind of also coming out there in the bottom. So I'll just snip it off. I think I'll maybe put this one in the back. I think we have a little room over here. I gotta say on the cuttings too, I put these on a plant shelf that usually gets up to about 78 degrees in the daytime, but I feel like because the heat from the lights under the shelf, I have them like right under the shelf below them, and so it tends to provide like contact warming, which I feel like these cuttings really, really like that. If you give them heat, they root like mad. This looks like as good a spot as any. I mean, a downside here is the roots are obviously not going to grow. They'll be limited. They can't grow where the pot is, but it'll be fine. We all sometimes embracing restraints makes life a whole lot easier. So I'm just going to push this one in a little bit. I don't move this thing at all, and it's indoors now, so I'm not worried about them falling out. And let's just take a look at this. I think I do a little more tuning here. But I think the forest is ready to grow on. And so I think the thought for the day is, I don't know, maybe try your own little forest. It's like it to me, it combines, I get a lot of material to work with in the future. It's really easy to do. The care is easy because it's basically one planting. And, they'll definitely be limited. They would grow more if they had their own root space and whatnot. But I found that, I mean, Portulacaries don't seem to mind too much. They will happily grow in almost any conditions. So a good thought for the day, consider doing your own little forest for future material. This thing is really thick. I'm gonna let it grow. I was thinking, well, maybe I'll take the rocks out because I think that would, at least some of them, the ones that don't look like a stream bed. Um, and I think I'll get rid of some of these lower leaves so I can see the trunk. But I think I'm gonna leave them in there for now. Yeah, and I think that's kind of a wrap. I want to show you what we cut off. Just because it's kind of a significant amount. Like I'm always surprised how much growth these plants generate. But let's take a look. Yeah, I mean, lots of uh, lots of growth there. And with that, I want to thank you for spending time with me, and I look forward to seeing you all again very soon.